Distinguished guests. Dean Baker is co-director of the Center for Economic and Policy Research. Art Laffer, the chairman of Laffer Investments and former Reagan advisor. I mean, first up, we got the ADP jobs number going the wrong way. Jobless claims are rising. Factory orders falling. Business investment is slowing. ISM's pretty good at 55, but it ought to be 65. We're growing at 2%, Art Laffer, and I want to ask you why you think that is the case. Why can't we break out to 3%, and why aren't we at 6 or 7% where we ought to be?
Well, because the Obama and George W. Bush, if I may add, both of them are really terrible sets of policies. Obama and W were exactly the same, and they've changed policies not a single iota. And when you look at what's going to happen, Larry, on January 1st, 2013, we hit a tax cliff. Just going to be phenomenal. I'm very concerned that 2% may be the very highest growth rate we see for the next couple of years, unless there's a big change coming in Washington.
I mean, Dean, we have no rules, we have no certainty, we have unbelievable government fine-tuning and interventionism, we have all the tax threats.
Larry, you guys are so sensitive. I mean,
I don't think that this. Look, here's my point.
The regulations we've had are trivial. I mean, everything these guys yell about, even the Obamacare, that almost nothing's happened on Obamacare. You're telling me that all these employers are so worried?
Oh, come on,
Larry,
look at the tax rates.
If employers are really as worried about things in the future as you claim they are, we have a real problem. We got business people that have no backbone. I mean, my God, every day of the week there must be something more serious that happens in my life than, a year from now, 2 years from now, that, you're going to have these restrictions on Obamacare.
I think profits and stocks all depend upon the future. I mean, Dean, it's really serious.
I know they depend on the future, but these are really minor things.
They are not. They're
the vast majority of large companies already meet the conditions required under Obamacare.
No, we're talking about the tax increase on unearned income. We're talking about
like what we had in the Clinton years.
Hang on. Wait, one at a time. Dean, let Art make his point, and then you can rebut it.
All right.
Arthur,
we've got huge tax increases coming on January 1st. Not only are they the offsetting of the Bush tax cuts, but you're going to have all the taxes on Obamacare as well. It's just huge. I don't see how you can avoid that unless, I mean, God, I wouldn't make the arguments you make unless I really wanted to please someone there, and it just makes no sense whatsoever.
I don't work for
Dean.
Obama. They wouldn't have me, I assure you. But, look around. We have plenty of countries that have tried exactly what you say. UK's in a recession. They've been going the free market route.
No, they did
Spain,
tax
the unemployment rate's 24%. They've been going the free market route. But Greece has been going the free market route.
Oh,
it doesn't work.
Hang on. I just want to ask this. We're going to bring in pollster Scott Rasmussen in just a moment. But look, Dean, here's my basic point. If it were going to work, it would have already worked. And the fact that the growth rate is a minimal stall rate
Larry.
of 2%.
I said that then, I say it now.
If it were going to work, it would have worked. And it hasn't worked. And therefore, Dean, it is highly suspect. We've tried these governmental fine-tuning. All right, so you want more of the same. All right, respond to that, and then I'm going to bring in my
Well, if you made it big enough, I think we could decline it 10% per annum. I mean, all we've got is the W people of Geithner and Bernanke still in there doing the same rotten policies that were done in the last 2 years of Bush, and it's had the same rotten results. Not good enough. Doing the same thing over and over again, Dean, and expecting a different result is crazy.
Inflating the bubble was very different.
Hang on. I want to bring in, hold on, ace pollster Scott Rasmussen of Rasmussen Reports. All right, Scott, welcome back to the show. It's a great pleasure to see you. According to your latest consumer polling data, this is, to me, staggering. You're saying 62% of consumers actually think the U.S. is still in recession. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, first of all, we ask this question every night when we measure consumer confidence, and every single night for the last 4 years, for even longer, a majority of Americans have said we are in a recession. They're a little bit less pessimistic now than they were a year or two ago, but they're more pessimistic than they were a couple of months ago. Lots of things are driving the concern. One that I think was highlighted by the ADP report today, the number of people who have jobs who are worried about losing them has grown to the highest level in 6 months.
And, Scott, you write also that the housing market is depressing America. And Lord knows, Team Obama has thrown all these temporary quick fix things at housing. None of it seems to have worked. You're saying housing is depressing America. What's your polling data tell? What's underneath that?
4 years ago, 80% of homeowners thought their home was worth more than they paid for it. That's down to 49% today. and people don't think we've hit bottom yet. 25% expected to have their own home to keep going down this next year. Only 21% expect to see an increase. And even if you look out to the long term, Larry, look out over a 5-year period, fewer than half of all homeowners think their home will go up in value. This is something that people are experiencing as somebody changed the rules on us. They were taught to invest in a home, pay the mortgage, and watch the equity grow, and instead their equity disappeared.
And last one, Scott, we have had a stock market rally from the lows of several years ago, but you're saying that investor confidence in the stock market peaked January 2004, all the way back to there. Wow.
That's right. And what we're seeing right now is the same thing we've seen the last couple of years. There was a little bit of a resurgence heading into the new year. Confidence was up to the highest we've seen actually in a couple of years. But it's beginning to ease as the months go on. The jobs number, obviously one of the very big ones we'll be watching. Right now, 23% of workers say their firms are hiring. 23% say they're laying off. That, too, is weaker than at the beginning of this year.
All right, Scott Rasmussen, we appreciate it very much. Thanks for helping us tonight.
Thanks, Larry.
We go back to Dean Baker and Art Laffer. Dean Baker, I know we disagree, buddy, but I'm just telling you once again, if all this fine-tuning and intervention and short-term fixes was going to work, it would have worked. It isn't even clear to me that this country believes there's a recovery going on. That, according to Scott Rasmussen's data, and he's not alone. Other polls have shown 80% believe we're still in a recession. Dean Baker, there is something badly wrong with what's going on here.
Larry, the times are bad, but again, I'm a big believer in arithmetic. My mother taught to me when I was very young, and I'll stand by it. I wrote this in January of 2009 when the stimulus was first coming up. I said the lost demand because of the housing bubble, the collapse of the bubble. You can't blame Obama for that. He wasn't even around. $1.4 trillion in annual demand. The stimulus, you boil it down to what it was in annual demand, about $300 billion. $300 billion is an awful lot less than $1.4 trillion. It was not large enough. I said that at the time. Others said that at the time. We've been proven right. But to say it didn't work, it worked. It created around 2 to 3 million jobs. That's the estimates of many, this Congressional Budget Office, many other independent analysts. Problem was we needed 12 million.
Or my position is that we are undermining free market principles. We are undermining incentives. We have all this fine-tuning and government intervening, which has clogged the wheels of commerce and even
people making lots of money.
Hang on a second,
can I make a comment here?
Me. I just want to ask you. It's clogged the wheels of commerce. It's clogged the wheels of certainty. It's taken all the rules out of the system. So, Art, there's no future planning. This is a debate, I think, pure and simple, about the free market versus the government market. Tell me I'm wrong. What's missing here?
It's not that you're wrong, but I've never heard of a poor person spending himself into prosperity. This is the most ridiculous argument I've heard. We have tried this spending model to bring back prosperity, Larry, and it just doesn't work. It never has worked, and it's failing once again, and all they want to do is double down and see what happens. Why don't we go back to what worked in Reagan's era of tax rate reductions, fast growth? Why don't we go back to work what is in Kennedy's era or Bill Clinton's era or in Harding and Coolidge? We have lots of examples of what really can bring you out of a recession, but none of those are what these people want to do. They just want to double down on this takeover of America, and it's killing America. I don't know why they won't change their answer when they see it's wrong time and time again.
Dean Baker, let me ask you this question. It's a serious question. I posit that if we had done nothing, if government action had stopped, if we had just let free markets adjust regarding stocks, regarding mortgages, regarding automobiles, across the board, no policies, no intervention, I think we'd be in shape today if we had just let the Hayekian free market, Ron Paul's idea of Austrian economics, just let the marketplace solve the problem. This government stuff has damaged us, Dean.
Well, Larry, the evidence doesn't support you. We were losing 600,000 jobs a month when President Obama came into office. The stimulus began to kick in April and May of 2009. We stopped losing jobs very quickly. It fit very well with the traditional Keynesian story. And you guys are too young. You don't remember the Depression, World War II. Spending got us out of that. We're trying austerity now in the UK and the Eurozone. Those countries are going into recession. It fits the Keynesian story to a T.
But, Dean,